Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Kessler, and I am here today on behalf of Cheers for Charity New Hampshire. And as always, I have the privilege of being here with my dear friend Joanne. Hey, Joanne.
Hi, Lisa. Hello. I'm Joanne Burchuck. I'm with Lighthouse Physical Therapy, and we have another great guest today for Cheers for Charity. So I'd like to welcome Shannon from Not One More Vet. So welcome, Shannon. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your organization, what you do.
Hi, everybody. I'm Shannon Emmons. I'm a small animal general practitioner veterinarian. I own my own veterinary hospital here in Maine. And I am a volunteer for Not One More Vet. Not One More Vet. I'll call it NOMV from now on, just for simplicity. It's a lot to say. Is an organization founded back in 2013 by Nicole MacArthur after the loss of Sophia Yin, who was a veterinarian. She's a very prominent veterinarian, and she did a lot of great work for the community. And Nicole, unfortunately, suicide and mental health struggles are a huge issue in our profession. So Nicole said, we've got to do something about this. So Not One More Vet started initially as an online Facebook group, a forum for veterinarians to support each other going through hard times. And now it's blossomed into this really magnificent organization, 501c3 status. There's Not One More Vet, the still Facebook group, but now there's Not One More Vet student. There's also Not One More Vet support staff. So for veterinary technicians, receptionists. So there's 3 online forums and so many other amazing programs that NOMV offers, support grants for those in a mental health crisis, resources to get people the mental help that they need. There's a new program, Lifeboat. It's an anonymous peer-to-peer support group that's off of Facebook for people who kind of stay away from social media, which fair. And we're looking forward to continuing to grow. We've got our big annual fundraising event coming up this fall, NOMV's Race Around the World. It's during September, which is Mental Health Awareness Month, and the biggest fundraiser for NOMV throughout the year. We're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for people who help. And we're always asking that people just be kind to their veterinarian and veterinary staff. And if you love your vet, make sure you tell them that.
Yeah, good idea. So just out of curiosity, so when we were first told about this organization, I mean, I know personally, I did not realize the struggles that veterinarians face. So do you mind just sharing a little bit more about that? Because I know I was a little bit surprised by it. But
yeah. So veterinarians and their support staff on average have about 2.5 times the suicide rate of the general population. 1 in 6 veterinarians has contemplated suicide, and it's unfortunately a reflection of what we go through on a day-to-day basis. We deal with life and death. Obviously, there's going to be tough situations, dogs that come in that are hit by cars, or euthanizing a pet, and those things are definitely hard, but coupled with really high debt to income ratios. We average student loan debt's about $170,000 that students graduate, and our salaries don't really reflect that. So that's a big issue. Unfortunately, with COVID, we've been seeing it across a lot of industries, but dealing with the general public, I'm not sure if you guys saw the social media story about Maine Veterinary Medical Center recently. Basically a very one-sided media story was shared, making MVMC out to be the villain, and they had people from all over the world calling, threatening them. They had to hire police presence. And dealing with these social media attacks, cyberbullying attacks, which turn sometimes into physical attacks. And I had to call the police on for my own clinic today. It's pets thing that we do, it's emotional, right? So many people's pets are families, so when something's wrong with them, it brings up a lot of emotions, and grief can make people do crazy things. It can make people stressed, and while we get that and try and be empathetic, once it starts going to violence and threats, it's gone too far for sure. So lots of things, but those are definitely some of the bigger ones.
Yeah, these things, we're all unaware of, you think, oh, I just bring my pet in for this, but not, and it's good to stop and think about the emotional impact that, our wonderful veterans are taking care of all of our pets, and that emotional impact, and other financial issues that affect them. So thank you for sharing that. I think it helps make this make a lot more sense, because you can kind of get ourselves in their shoes a little bit more and what's going on. Yeah. So it's great, you guys provide a lot of support for everybody. Tell us a little bit about the fundraiser. You said it's called Race Around the World, and
Yep.
Tell me more about that. What is that?
Yeah, so Race Around the World, like I said, it's our biggest fundraiser. It takes place every September, and it's a virtual race, so you don't have to be present, but you can sign up as an individual or as a team. So my clinic last year had a team, and we get into the competition and stuff. Tasha's veterinary clinic, we were fierce competitors last year, but it's good because it drums up awareness and gets more people involved. But basically, you commit to saying, I'm going to walk 500 miles in the month of September, and my goal is to raise $1,000. You commit to some goal. It doesn't have to be. That was, I think, what I committed to last year. And so it gets you out, gets you active, gives you a purpose, a little bit of competition. And all of that money goes for Not One More Vet. And there's, there's individual leaders and team leaders, and, you get swag if you raise a certain amount of money. But the big goal is basically to raise funds so that we can continue to do grants, like I said, mental grants for people for mental health. And there were the wildfires in California last year, grants to people who lost their clinics or their homes, financial grants for natural disasters. There's, even if somebody is like, I lost my job, I'm short on rent, like those are the types of things that we, offer help for. Basically anything that could be perceived to have an impact on somebody's mental health. So fundraising, donations make a huge difference all the time. We definitely, hopefully you'll see us across social media in September, though, when we're really raising support and awareness.
Now, stepping back a little bit, did you find also, did COVID have a huge impact on the veterinary clinics?
Yeah, so it's actually how I got involved with NAMV. I bought my practice in 2019, just a tiny backstory. I bought it from my longtime mentor. I've known him since I was a kid. He was my first job. March of 2020, you may remember, COVID started. He was unfortunately diagnosed with cancer and had to leave. So I went from being, a new practice owner, now taking care of 2 vets worth of patients, during a pandemic. And, you know, the first couple of months we shut down everything. You know, we weren't doing vaccines. We were only seeing emergencies. We went curbside, you know, meaning you call in from your car, we come out and get your pet, you know, not letting people in the building to minimize spread of disease. And then as things started to lighten up a little bit, you know, June, July, people started getting pets and everyone was home and was bored. So we saw a 30% increase in pet ownership during COVID, and we didn't see a 30% increase in veterinary staff. So now, you know, dealing with all the crazy new protocols because of COVID, curbside and everything, we were now also taking on more pets, more patients, and things got crazier and crazier. March of 2021, so a year into all of this, we actually we lost 7 veterinary colleagues to suicide. And I, by that point, was working 6 days a week by myself. My mentor had since passed away from cancer, so just really, you know, not a great situation. And I ended up diagnosed with depression, and you know, got into therapy, got on meds, and I'm doing way better. It's a work in progress every single day, but dealing with my own suicidal ideations. And Tasha reached out and said, you know, what can we do? Like what is going on? And how can we support veterinarians? So Tasha and I got involved with NAMVI, and she didn't even know I was going through an awful time at that point. And that was, you know, especially during COVID, people just burnt out, just completely burnt out because we were just so overrun. You know, a lot of clients or a lot of clinics started not accepting new clients. Protocols changing constantly, and we're still dealing with that because, you know, we still, like I said, got that 30% increase in pet ownership without the increase in vets. So things are still crazier than normal. We keep saying like it'll slow down eventually, but you know, there doesn't seem to be an end in sight in that. So it's kind of been about like finding what works for everybody, what works for individual clinics, and how we can kind of cope with the current demands. So yeah, COVID has had a crazy impact on the veterinary industry that I don't think anybody could have predicted.
Well, it sounds like there's so much to all this, and I'm so grateful to hear about how Not One More Vet is out there making a difference and an impact in the community every day, which is just huge. So one of the things we haven't really gone into depth with, if someone wants to get involved, you know, they want to learn more, they want to, you know, understand more opportunities, you know, they listen to this and get curious, what's the best way for them to get more information or get engaged?
So nomv.org, NOMV.org is going to have all of our information. Anybody can apply to be a NOMV advocate. So somebody who's willing to kind of share awareness, raise awareness, start as a volunteer, and kind of depending on people's individual skill sets, they get put into different committees. For, you know, like we've hired project managers or IT people to get, you know, different programs up and running, or even just telling people about Not One More Vet is honestly great. Donations, always appreciate donations. But if you're looking to get like really involved, which we would absolutely love, nomv.org for sure.
Fantastic. Right, Shannon, this has been a great discussion. So interesting. It's I feel grateful that you're here, but sorry that you have to be, right?
Yeah, no, I get that.
If that makes any sense. But we do appreciate you taking time to share with us today and letting us just do our little part in helping get the message out for all the important work that you guys are doing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you on behalf of NOMV, Not One More Vet, for having us here.